Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review. Today we're going to be talking about HOMEWORX Cherry Pie. Full disclosure before we get into this review, this candle was sent to me in PR by Slatkin & Co. A huge thank you to them. They never tell me what I need to say. I always give you my real thoughts. I'm always keeping it real here, regardless of how a candle comes into my possession. So this is one of the fragrances that is part of the new Party in the USA collection. HOMEWORX sent me this candle as well as the strawberry shortcake fragrance. And then I think that there's I think it's called Ice Cream Social. I had talked about it in my candle chat video earlier this week. They also sent me a 3-wick of the salted caramel gelato. So there's a couple of new fragrances that have popped up now on the Slatkin & Co website. This is one of them. I also believe that this fragrance is part of a duo that is available over on QVC. So let's go ahead and talk about this candle. We can see very patriotic packaging here. We've got a cherry pie with that lattice pie crust on top. The label, of course, is beautiful. HOMEWORX really does a great job with their packaging. It is one of their standard 4-wick, 18-ounce vessels. So let's go ahead and talk about the fragrance notes on this candle. Listed on the bottom of this candle are fragrance notes of ripe summer cherries, sparkling sugar, whipped vanilla cream, and graham cracker crust. That part I find a little bit interesting. The specific pour date of this candle that I am reviewing is January 11th, 2025. And if you are new to my channel, the reason why I always mention a pour date on a lot of my dedicated candle reviews is that because some brands, I do find HOMEWORX in particular, the longer that their candles cure, sometimes the fragrances develop a little bit more or they intensify when you are burning them. So that is why I typically like to reference the pour date. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what my nose is smelling with this candle. Interestingly enough, when I got this candle in, the first thing that I noticed on cold was it's definitely a cherry forward fragrance. Now, I admit to you guys, cherry is not typically a fragrance that is in my wheelhouse. If this candle had not been sent to me in PR, I most likely would not have purchased it just because cherry, of all of the fruits, that one, grapefruit, tend to be like at the bottom of my list. I don't always love cherry fragrances. So when I got this candle in and I smelled it, I was like, okay, I think I can get on board with it. I wasn't overly excited about it, I will be honest with you guys. But the cherry note in here on cold sniff, I thought, okay, this smells like cherry filling. I felt like this was like cherry pie filling forward. I did detect a little bit of what I would say would be a crust note in the background, but it was definitely much more cherry pie filling with a little bit of crust in there. I will say that when this candle is burning, I feel like the longer that this candle is burning and also the more burns that I have gotten on this candle, I feel like the cherry note is still a little bit more prominent. However, the crust note it is detectable to my nose. Now, is it this like lattice pie crust note? No. I think it's a little bit strange that they went with a graham cracker crust because I personally don't recall eating a cherry pie with a graham cracker crust on it. Now that could be just me, but when I have had cherry pie, it's always been kind of that like flaky pastry type of crust, not a graham cracker crust. So I thought that that was an interesting note to go with, and I am going to tell you guys that the more that this candle burns, well, let me back it up here. The cherry note, the more that this candle burns, I've realized that the cherry note in here is the same cherry note to my nose as what is in the iced cherry fizz. And if you've been watching my channel, if you saw my most recent candle declutter, I ended up decluttering that fragrance because I did not enjoy the cherry fragrance in there. And unfortunately, what I'm going to tell you guys with this one is that because the cherry note is the same, I am finding that this fragrance mixed, or the cherry fragrance mixed with whatever this graham cracker crust note is in here, when this candle is burning, I don't love it. The first burn, I was actually okay with it, but I will tell you that successive burns after that, it's like one of those things where like I just can't put my finger on it, but my nose detects it as being slightly off. And the interesting thing is, today when I was burning this candle, I was burning it in my bedroom, and my daughter walked in there and she said, "Oof, what are you burning in there?" And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Mom, she's like, she's like, that candle kind of reminds me of vomit." Like, she was like, "There's something about it that smells like acidic or off." And I was like, and then when I walked in there, I was like, I get what you're saying. And it's funny because I immediately thought back to my friend Connor here when he did his iced cherry fizz review. He did not like that candle at all either. And he mentioned that the cherry note in there also smelled like that. Now, you guys, that is just how my nose is detecting it. Does it smell like straight up stomach, a product from your stomach? No, it doesn't. But I think what we're talking about is there's something that smells a little bit sour or acidic when this candle is burning. And I think that it's the cherry note that they are using specifically here, then combining with other fragrance oils. Like I said, they're saying a graham cracker crust. As far as like a vanilla cream, every once in a while I'll get a little whiff of vanilla mixed in there, but it's not definitely like it's not a prominent note in there. This is not a creamy scent. Again, this to me is very much cherry pie filling forward, but unfortunately it's just not the cherry that I like. We also need to talk about the performance of this candle, because I'm going to go ahead and lift this up right now so you can see the wicks. So you can see I am at about the halfway point on this candle. You will see towards the back there that there is still a little bit of a lip of wax going on here. Now, I have had this candle lit for almost an hour and a half now. And on top of that, you guys, I lit this candle outside right now as I was preparing to do this review. And I'm in Arizona. Right now, it is 88 degrees outside. So typically, like in the summertime, when I film these reviews outside and I'm getting them ready, if I light a candle outside, it pulls out pretty quickly because the ambient temperature is already hotter, right? So I wanted to let you guys know about that because I did touch on this in my candle chat video, that the first burn of this candle, the wicks, they really struggle to achieve an entire wax pool. In fact, I had this candle burning for about 3 hours and there was still a pretty significant amount of wax that had not pulled out. I did end up popping it into a hurricane and letting it burn for like another 2.5 hours for it to finally completely pull out. And that's an important thing because wax does have a memory. So if you don't get a complete wax pool on the first time that you burn a candle, you might be dealing with tunneling issues the rest of the burns. So I will tell you, this one, for whatever reason, is struggling to pull out. And again, even today when I was burning it out here, it's warmer out here. This candle should have been completely pulled out, I would say within 20 minutes. And still an hour and a half later, there's a little rim of wax at the back. Regardless of the wax issues, what I will say is that this candle for me, performance is around a 7, I would say, in terms of strength and throw. It's definitely noticeable in my open concept living room. It was definitely a little too strong for my nose in the master bedroom today. But again, master bedroom has lower ceilings, smaller room. The living room has more of an open concept. I could smell it slightly at like the entrance to the kitchen, but I wasn't smelling it all the way over by the sink. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7 in terms of strength and throw. Fills up the open concept living room well enough. Again, it wasn't super strong in the living room, but it was detectable. And it's funny, I actually think I enjoyed burning this in the living room much more than the bedroom, because the living room, it didn't seem so intense where I was picking up on that quote unquote we'll just say nasty smell that I was smelling a little bit more when it was burning in the bedroom. Overall, you guys, I would say that this is a candle that I can't really give 2 thumbs up to. As much as I would like to, I cannot. Now, spoiler alert, the other candle that they sent to me in this collection gets 2 thumbs up. In fact, I might purchase a backup of it. It's funny how I feel like since I did my candle chat video, my opinions on both of those candles went opposite directions. One got better as I burned it more, and one went downhill. And unfortunately, this is the one that went a little bit downhill. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you guys. The performance is okay, again, knowing that the wax issues are there, but if you happen to have liked the iced cherry fizz, or if you like the way that HOMEWORX has done cherry fragrances, I think that you still might like it. But for me personally, I just don't really care for this fragrance. Don't be surprised if I pass this one along to somebody else. I'm sure somebody else will enjoy this. And also, I do know that there's a couple of other HOMEWORX ambassadors that did get this candle in PR. So feel free to tune into some of their reviews or check online on Instagram and whatnot, because there are other people who will probably give you more thoughts. But for me personally, guys, just take into account, I'm not always big on cherry fragrances. And unfortunately, this one just did not impress me. Now, that being said, I will just say stay tuned. There's another fragrance of this same name from another brand that I am really, really loving. I will talk about that this weekend. But yeah, this one, it's not for me. However, if you are interested in any of the other HOMEWORX candles that are on the Slatkin & Co website, I do have an affiliate discount code with them. Katie's Joyful Life will save you 15% on orders over $40. So you'll want to be subscribed and stay tuned to my channel, because I will be reviewing Strawberry Shortcake next week for you guys. And spoiler alert, I do really love that candle. So, you can't win them all. I'm very thankful to them for sending this to me to try out. But again, I think I'm going to go ahead and pass this one along. Let me know in the comment box down below if you purchased this through QVC already, or maybe you've already ordered it from the Slatkin website. Feel free to chime in down below what your experience has been with it or what your nose detects. Please feel free to hit thumbs up if you found this review helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.